So I wake up early yesterday, and I'm told on the fly that JoJo from Jers is going to be joining the panel. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Just had her on the show the other day. And on the other side of the panel, Matt Schlapp, as I've called time and time again on this show, Matt Schlong, who has these settlements out of court, apparently allegedly grabbing young men's junk in bars. So Matt Schlapp, and then I heard the name Michael Knowles. And if you don't know who Michael Knowles is, he's a pompous right-wing prick who I believe is bigoted in nature, just like everybody else that he works with Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. They're just terrible people. I said, okay, great. Looking forward to that. To start the Piers Morgan show, he interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, Brian Glenn, and it was just intolerable for like 5 minutes. And then he goes to us, he goes to the panel, and we get right into it. And the first clip I want to play for you is how I expose, not literally, thank God, Michael Knowles and Matt Schlapp with the double standard they have, because Michael Knowles is so up in arms and Schlapp is so angry, and even Piers Morgan, that the Democrats didn't clap at every single moment in Donald Trump's speech. So I made it a point to explain to them that this was a double standard. Have a listen and watch this.
Brian, you were shaking your head again there. But let me ask you, Brian, just from a human point of view, the optics of what the Democrats did in relation to that young man, DJ, well, obviously, never mind anything else, just politically, ludicrously self-harming. Everyone woke up today and went, what the hell? You can't even applaud a young boy?
Here's my problem with this argument. Where were you guys when Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert were screaming at Joe Biden during the State of the Union when he was trying to honor the soldiers who passed away in Afghanistan?
I was saying how wrong it was.
People like Michael, and I understand, but people like Michael and others on the far right were not. Where were you when Marjorie Taylor Greene was decked out in her ridiculous MAGA gear looking like an imbecile? The problem I have with this, and I agree with JoJo here, the problem I have is it seems to me that people are using death and they're using people for political gain. For example, there were illegal immigrants that committed terrible crimes under the Trump administration as well. Why weren't those victims invited there yesterday? I feel like MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump, for example, uses a police officer's death, which is horrible. We all agree, a terrible thing, right? But there were plenty of police officers that passed away under or were murdered under the Trump administration as well. Why didn't Trump go to those wakes? Why weren't they invited yesterday?
Brian,
Why is it only people?
Brian, hang on, just to be clear then, you condemn all of it, do you? In other words, you condemn what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. So by definition, do you also condemn what the Democrats did last night? Are you an all-encompassing condemner of that kind of behavior, or only if it's Republican?
So I think that's a very fair characterization of my opinion, but I also will add this caveat to it. If the Democrats 5 or 10 minutes into the speech all walked out, I think they would have been better off doing that. If they walked in there wearing, I don't know, Zelensky gear, I would have been okay with that. Yes, they probably should have stood up and probably should have clapped in that moment. But at the same time, I want consistency. I don't even think they should have been sitting there. Yes, I think they looked a little bit ridiculous with their signs. I think they would have been better put just leaving the speech altogether.
All right, let me
This is ridiculous whataboutism.
I'm going to come back to
Totally
Michael. Hang on, Michael. I'm going to play you a couple more clips from last night.
Oh, my God. Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up decked out in MAGA gear, Michael. Give me a break.
Hang on, JoJo.
Yeah, Michael, where were you then, Michael?
Hang on.
Cancer survivor.
Can I place it? Let me play some clips first. Let me play some clips first, then we'll continue the debate.
Let
me play the clip. JoJo, let me please moderate the panel.
Piers Morgan nuts last night. So if you heard that condescending piece of human garbage, Michael knows, saying that wasn't somehow a fair analogy to make, and he said that was a false analogy, and he used some other words. No, it's completely fair. You have the right, upset that the Democrats weren't standing up and clapping, and I bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene screaming at Joe Biden when Joe Biden in the State of the Union address was trying to honor the 13 soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan. And Michael Knowles says, oh, well, that's not a fair comparison. No, you're an idiot. It absolutely is. And I called him out on it. If one side of the argument is the Democrats weren't showing class or dignity or decorum, which, by the way,
you wouldn't answer the question.
Comparing Marjorie Taylor Greene and trying to compare that to Democrats not standing up. Marjorie Taylor Greene interrupted Joe Biden's speech and started screaming at him when he was trying to honor fallen officers, which to me is far worse than anything the Democrats did the other day. Okay, big deal. So they didn't clap. They didn't stand up and they weren't clapping. I mean, come on, give me a break. So I destroyed them on that point and explained to them the double standard.